Natural Element, the show, we're not really sure yet, I guess, what it'll be.
I guess it is what it is.
It is what it is.
We're just having a conversation.
Here in our office, Natural Element. First let's talk about what we do.
Okay.
Which is...
What do we...
I know, what do we do, really? Okay, so, we produce films. We have some clients. We've got a couple clients.
Couple actors, couple photographers.
Yeah, a couple photographers, social media people. And then on the side of that, we do some branding for clothing stores and all that type of stuff that involves, online advertising and social media and all that type of stuff. So, I'm having a ton of fun doing it.
Yeah. And you're mostly running stuff right now.
Right now, yeah, in the day-to-day, because you're at this job.
Yeah.
And which was a transition in and of itself.
Totally.
Because you were freelance. So Mitch was freelance.
Yeah.
And now you're working a full-time job. But I think what people don't really know is a lot about our relationship. Because, when Passing came out, the film, if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to it. When that came out, and it did fairly well, tons of awards,
lots of festivals.
So that was really great.
Super exciting, for sure.
But it's like they mainly see me, Sasha, Victor as the people in the film.
Yeah. Because you're in the film, but you're also a director.
But what people don't know is obviously that I made it with you. Not everyone knows that we did it together.
Right. That's kind of cool,
and I think that was a decision that was actually kind of complicated because I wasn't sure. I wasn't exactly sure how. I really wanted it to be good, and I knew that you would make it really good, and we would make an amazing film together. But the hard part, I think, for me was coming out about the content.
And also, I guess there was some sort of discussion around, what are the, I don't know if ethics is the right word, but what's the decision making around bringing on someone who's not a person of color, and also someone who's not even really a part of the LGBTQ space.
Yes, for
sure. I mean, and since then, I have decided that. In some way I'm on the spectrum just because my views on sexuality changed through the filmmaking process.
Absolutely.
But I guess just that, deciding that was a thing because then it's something to navigate.
No, it is something to navigate, of course. And I feel like, so this idea kind of came, the idea of Passing, I really wanted to do a film about, the trans experience. And so I was already friends with you. For like 2 years.
That's right. And we had always talked about making a documentary.
We talked about making a documentary. And I was like, shit, how am I going to tell him about this? Because I hadn't told you about me. And then I said, we got to go to lunch and I'm going to tell you this idea and I don't know if you're going to like it. And then I told you, and then what happened?
I can't even remember my initial reaction, but I'd like to think that it wasn't too like...
No, that's true. It wasn't so like, oh...
I think I was just like... I do remember you said, if I tell you this and you just like get up and leave, that's totally cool. And in my mind, I was like, pretty much, I don't think anybody could say anything that would make me just walk out.
Right.
Unless I was in a fight with an ex-girlfriend or something, but even then. And so I was like, okay, it's all good. Pretty much just tell them, say what's up. And then you did. And then I think we just had a discussion about trans for a couple hours probably. Yeah. And also like a discussion about just society in general and life and stuff, but
no,
it was pretty good, pretty positive, I think.
Yeah, it was very positive. And then it took us like a year to make because we had to find the people and we brought on a team and everything like that. And I think, so thinking back right now, what was so great about working with you that I don't know if I could have gotten by working with anybody else was you taught me a lot about continuing to push on projects. Even when they're sort of stagnated, that there's got to be someone to drive the ship, and that different people can be driving at different moments.
Yeah.
But to get something done takes more work than people, I think that at least I thought at the beginning. I thought, okay, sweet, we're gonna get this project on the go.
Even then, I thought because ultimately, like that was really my first experience making a proper, doc. Film. That was my first documentary film, straight up. Like it was my first time making a doc and first time doing interviews, first time finding subjects, and like I remember we did the pre-interviews and stuff, and like but I was less nervous because I had done my thesis project very recently.
Right.
For Ryerson.
And what was that like? Making a feature, mind you, that is like something...
I don't even know, man. And like, I think actually Emma did just win Best of the Fest at Festigious, which is kind of cool.
Amazing. Can we link that to, can you watch it online or no?
I'm not sure. It is online, the full film.
Okay, cool.
But, and you know, it's okay. It's like, it was my first time directing a film, and there's a bunch of other people involved in it, and like amazing writer.
I'm just gonna remember it.
And amazing actors. And like, so I was just really the director, and it kind of seemed like, I don't know, it's like a role that's just a part of the whole thing.
Yep.
But I was really nervous of like screwing everything up. And I think I screwed a lot of stuff up, you know, like just a lot of stuff that you can't know as a young person. Right. And I'm still super young, obviously, and I still screw lots of stuff up on every project that I do. But I screwed a lot of stuff up. But at least I like wasn't as, the main thing is like I wasn't as nervous making Passing.
Right.
Like I think at least I got the nerves out.
Right.
It's like if you screw something up, whatever.
Right.
At the end of the day, like you're gonna screw stuff up.
What's like a big thing that what are some of those screw ups like from Emma that you felt like you didn't with Passing that you tried to avoid?
So one major thing was like being too, I think from my perspective, was being too involved in the cinematography for sure. Was like just always trying to double check every single frame, and like maybe that was because I wasn't sure what we were doing, or like I don't know, I just felt like I didn't spend enough time talking to the actors maybe. But on the other hand, I did talk to them a lot. So I don't really know. Mm-hmm. But I think just like being worried about, you know, missing a shot or like forgetting to shoot something, or like, and plus there was so much stuff because we were shooting like 10 pages a day or something. So like, and also it was stressful because we were in a hospital and like we were paying for it, and like, you know, we had these amazing producers who got us like, I don't know, I didn't even know how much money. That's the other thing. It's like I wasn't even involved in that.
Right.
So there was stress from that side of it as well.
Because Passing was a super small crew. We had like 5 people, and even though we flew from Toronto, Texas, New York, there was a lot of movement, but that's pretty big for a doc. Like I would say a lot of traveling docs, you're maybe looking at 2-3 people.
Yeah, and I think in that sense on Passing, I was less worried because Nick was there.
Right. That
was a big part of it, I think. And he did a lot of the shooting himself, and I wasn't as worried about double checking his stuff because we had kind of had an established thing about how we were going to do workflow. And I was also shooting my own stuff with my own camera. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I shot a lot of B-roll stuff for Passing, and I just shot a lot of stuff with my own camera too. But like when Nick was shooting, I just wasn't worried about looking over his shoulder. I was more concerned about talking to you guys and like talking to the subjects.
Right.
I think I spent a lot more time on Passing because I did the interviews, and I spent a lot more time just talking to the subjects rather than looking at the camera.
Right. And I remember that too. We were like behind there kind of making sure to get the best stuff, and we shot so much stuff.
That was another thing. I think I was like, yo, we got to be rolling 24.
Yeah.
And even still, I think looking back, I was like, we didn't shoot enough.
Right. Totally.
Like we could have even been rolling more. There's times when you want to be, because I think the times when you stop rolling, that's when you want to be rolling from my style, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I think is like when you stop rolling, that's really when you should start rolling.
I agree. Like for instance, like the tension moments, some of them are caught, but a lot of them aren't caught because people don't want to film. You don't want to film when you're having issues, but it's almost awesome to have that content.
Because when you go and you look back, and there are a few moments that we captured that are like that, where you look back and you're like, oh, we got this great shot.
Yeah.
Like, but you don't always get those moments because you're afraid or something.
Totally.
That someone's going to get pissed, or like it's going to be really awkward. Yeah. But I think that's something when you're making a doc is maybe you kind of just have to deal with. Or
what did you get out of Ryerson? Because I'm curious, because people a lot of the time they debate. Do you go to film school? Do you not go to film school? What did you get? What did you get from film school?
Well, I didn't even really go to film school. I went to RTA.
Right.
Right. So it was kind of a different beast, but I don't know. I don't think I got much, to be honest. Straight up. Like
any like connects or like
maybe just like experience, I guess. Making Emma was probably the most valuable thing, and like that was just like a totally random thing too, because like they just asked me to come on to direct, because originally Simon wanted to direct and act in it, but Michelle said like, I don't think you could handle that, which probably was very realistic because like it might have been too stressful or something. But so they just brought me on to help out. And it's not like I had even done anything. like I hadn't directed anything before I did that, right? I guess that maybe they just trusted me or something for whatever reason. And maybe they're all like, because we don't work together anymore.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if that was a chemistry thing or maybe they're like, yo, fuck this guy, like he fucked up. But obviously the film did okay, like it won a bunch of awards and like did okay, and it was all of our first films. But I think that was probably the biggest learning experience. Other than that, maybe just like meeting people and experimenting with film on my own.
Yep.
And
you just reminded me of a huge learn that I've also taken from you, and another reason why I think we continue to work together. Because after passing, it was like, you have this choice. Do you still work with the people that you originally shot with? Do you start to build a crew that is consistent? Because any film you make, you're going to have issues. You know, can you see past some of the personality differences and recognize the real gem, the real gold? For me, because when we came back from passing, we lived together for a month. And, you know, so we kind of we were building our relationship, which didn't just come super easy. We really have worked at this relationship on a personal level and on a work level. But one big moment for me, which has made me want to continue to do work with you, is so we shoot passing, we come back, we live together, everything, we're working on the film and it's kind of going. And then you suffered a big tragedy in your life.
Yeah, my dad died.
Yeah. And you had already lost your dad. And this is like, you're like almost, you know, what are you, 21 at this point?
23.
23, yeah. 23. And, you know, and it's like, so I immediately, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm going to go be there for Mitch. And so I went up and saw you and we finished the film.
We cut it in a whole weekend.
In a weekend. And that to me was a huge moment because it was like, wow, this guy, you know, he's just seen his dad die and he still wants to work on this project.
Yeah.
That was gold.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to do that. You know, I think we get really caught up in creative. Sometimes we think, oh, okay, like this sucks and I don't want to work on it.
And I think I was just like, at that point, and a lot of stuff happened on that film too. Because there was a person on that film too where I guess my relationship with that person didn't work out.
Right.
And for whatever reason, like, and we'll probably never work together again, but it's all good. Like, no, I have no hard feelings.
Yes.
And it's like, we just didn't work out together because clearly, like, you and I have navigated those exact same issues in just a totally different way.
For sure.
And me and Nick have navigated those same issues in a totally different way. And like, but yeah, I think I just wanted to finish it. And I think in my mind, I was like, if we don't do it now, it's probably never going to get done. That's kind of how I felt.
Totally. But so many people would throw it by the wayside. Would just be like, you know what, let's just not do this, or I'm too busy, I'm too preoccupied, and I have to be there, you know, now it's just you and your mom. Like, that was a lot of pressure that you were under, and we still managed to get it done. And I think that's the qualities that you should be looking for in your people. You know, that's the qualities that's
the next level of shit.
Yeah, that when you're trying to build a creative team, maybe you're not going to get along on every single level. Maybe we've obviously figured out how to have difference of opinion and talk them out and go with the best idea and the trust that's been built through those relationships. Now we've made 2 or 3 films together, some of them coming out later.
And we had that on, I guess we are working on other projects right now. But,
we are.
But like another documentary, couple, I guess. But like, I think a big part of that when we were working on the edit of Passing, because I edited it. And I think a big part of that was you just knowing how to navigate my instability as far as being like, we should do this. And I'm like, no. But it's like, obviously we should consider that idea. And you would just be like, yeah, okay, but maybe we should just try it.
Totally.
And I'd be like, all right, let's just try it. And then I would be like, yeah, this is better.
I mean, for sure. I think that also makes people really strong. Their ability to be flexible, their ability to, and I think I have had to learn that too in myself, and we both have. So it's a continued process in doing that. Yeah. But I think people again,
and I'm still learning like crazy.
Me too.
I'm not flexible enough at all yet. But like, there's definitely people who help me realize like it's all good.
For sure, and the collaboration aspect is obviously huge. But I think it's like relationships. For instance, too many people they look for, oh, you like the same books as me, or you like the same movies. Right. Way less important than how they act under pressure. Right. Way less important than their ability to follow through on projects. I mean, that stuff goes beyond, you know. That to me is of a higher value. And so I feel like I get that from you. But that was obviously off the side of going to Ryerson, which leads to, there's a lot of people that go to Ryerson that don't do shit. No offense to people who go to Ryerson who aren't doing shit, but a lot of people are just not making anything. They're not creating any content. They're just completely stuck in,
and that's
whatever.
hard. It's hard too, though. You know what? Because
you think it's teams? Like, what do you think that is?
To be honest, like, because I knew I wanted to make a doc, and I text you almost every day with ideas for other documentaries, and like, I'm like, yo, I want to make this doc, I want to make that doc, and like, but something that I think I maybe learned and haven't really maybe learned yet is that, because when we made Passing, I was like, I want to make a doc film. I don't know what I want to make it on. And therein lies the problem. Because you can't just go make a doc film. Right? I think like an idea has to be presented to you in a way. And Passing was presented to me by you.
Right.
And like, I think that's where a lot of people don't have the opportunity to make content because nothing is presented to them. I think maybe, or maybe something is and they don't capitalize on it. That's also probably a major thing. But like, I'm working a full-time job and we're still working on the documentary.
Absolutely.
But like, I think that's part of the problem. And like, I feel bad for those people because it's hard to find a good idea, especially in documentary.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't just go out and just randomly be like, I'm going to make a documentary on this corner store or something.
Unless it's like you wind up in a Capturing the Freedmans moment, which is so amazing. That's like documentary. Okay, I've got documentary dreams.
That's like one in a million.
One documentary dream is you go in to make something really particular, and it ends up being something incredible.
Like a murder mystery.
Exactly, like Capturing the Freedmans. He went to go make a documentary on Bobo the Clown or something, and it ends up being this like story about pedophilia and child pornography. Amazing. The other thing that I would love to have a doc sort of like fall into my lap is where you're basically like you're following some people, and the story completely is right there for you. It's really easy to unfold it. Like for instance, what's that film that you really like when you wanted to shoot head on the mirror?
Oh yeah, Imposter.
Yeah, like something where you're following a very clear trajectory.
Yeah. Well, like doesn't Andrew like seek out film ideas?
Yes.
I remember one time you told me he looks in the paper.
Andrew Moyer, who will be
we should talk
in
to him
our
about
office.
that.
He will come to our office to hang out with us. He reads the paper every day for like ideas to make films.
That's cool, but also it's like maybe that works out, and maybe that's a good idea.
Totally, he's read some insane ideas. I mean, it's quite remarkable what you can get from the paper. But I mean, I think that people don't make content, because there's a fear factor there. And I was scared shitless when I was faced with
and maybe we had a good chemistry there because you were totally scared and I was like, what's the big deal?
Right, and I was like, yo, I'm coming out and everyone's gonna see this, I'm never gonna work again, and it's gonna be so intense, and like
it was totally fine.
Yeah, it was totally fine. In fact, it's made my career better. Yeah. If anything, So that's obviously really good.
And also, like, I just think the educational value of Passing is so great. Like, look how many universities are licensing the film. Yeah. Like, we get emails, like, every week almost.
And it's sold to Amazon. First doc, I mean, it's done pretty well.
Amazon is, to me, it's the universities that's so great, though, that it's a part of curriculums and stuff. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think all in all, I think we've made a good team, and I think I'm excited to kind of see how.
But it's definitely about like, I guess if there's a major learn, it's definitely about the chemistry of having someone who can show you your flaws and be okay with it. Yeah. Someone who can be like, yo, like straight up, this isn't cool or something, but to say it in a way that makes you recognize it as something that you can improve on instead of telling you something and being like, you're a piece of shit for doing this and making you feel bad, because like that should never be the goal, right? And if you're making someone feel bad, then you're probably not like a great team, because you should be supporting each other. Yes. And the only way you can grow is by support. So I think that's the major learn that I had.
People wait. A big learn too that I've had recently too. It's like from our projects and from Passing. People are they're constantly waiting to have have the other person in their team kind of bring everybody up. And eventually I think that everyone needs to agree it's better to get it done than it's It's better, and we obviously can go on about that forever, but it's better to get it done than to be nitpicky on on exactly the details of how it's going to get done.
Yeah.
Obviously, until the very last minute, you can be nitpicky, but when it's got to get done, it's got to get done.
Yeah.
And working, for instance, even with Matt DeFilippis, who we'll probably have a great conversation with them as well. There was that moment working on the short film where
Wild Woman? Was that
Wild Woman,
right?
yeah, which is now called For Nona Anna.
Oh, okay.
Where the props department, someone had forgot their earrings and went to Matt and said, this person's forgot their earrings. Sitting there, we're shooting.
And he's just like, no big deal.
Yeah.
That's what's up, because ultimately, who cares?
We're just going to do it anyway. It's like, what are you going to do? We're like 2 hours away from this person's house. It's like, we're just going to have to go for it, basically.
I remember when we were in New York, Sasha was like, maybe I don't want to do the film.
Yeah, totally. And we were like, and I had to go to that coffee and like talk. Oh man, yeah, that was
Remember that?
Something else, yeah.
Like,
Totally.
But then he turned out to be so great.
So great.
He gave us gold.
Everyone was so good in that, and I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of it as a piece, and I'm really excited to see how these relationships continue to unfold. Mm-hmm. And lastly, I want to just hear really quick about your other relationships, because like we talk about film a lot. We work together, but in terms of the other people you work with, what have you know? What are the qualities that you look for in other people you work with?
I think like the main thing is like kind of what I just said, like about how if someone can just lift you up, if they can tell you something that you did wrong, or be like, I didn't appreciate that, or something, to just be able to give you constructive feedback in a way that makes you feel good, and also to say, I still support you.
Right.
Like, this wasn't cool, but it's all good because I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, because if you're going to have a team, you're going to be spending a lot of time with these people working on projects, and like, it's going to be intense, and there's going to be moments where your true colors are going to come out, and maybe like, sometimes I flip out about stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, nobody wants to be like that.
Me too.
And so I don't like being like that, but if someone can call you out on it and you're like, yeah, I'm sorry for doing that, it's whack, like, and they're like, no problem.
Yeah.
It's all good. I'm just letting you know. That's the type of environment, I think, that's the main thing to really look for, I think. Because you're going to encounter those problems.
Yep.
And if you're working with someone who can't support you in your flaws, then you're really going to not have a great relationship, because your stuff will happen, basically, right? Where shit goes sideways.
Yep.
And it gets
and you have to
controversial.
End it. And you got to end those relationships in a way.
And they kind of just fizzle out.
Yeah.
I guess.
For sure.
Or something. I don't know. But just having support. Just being support and trying to be positive, I guess.
Yeah.
To me is like the main thing. And you're really good at that.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get office time.